You've probably noticed it every time you leave the house lately. Gas prices are shooting up. Normal grocery runs feel completely out of reach. And the US just lost 92,000 jobs in a single month. It's gotten to the point where some people are paying $33 just for a pack of toilet paper. While domestic news might blame local policies, the source of this financial pain is actually thousands of miles away. This entire financial headache comes down to a tiny 20-mile stretch of water on the exact opposite side of the planet. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to February 28, 2026. That is when the United States and Israel launched a massive military campaign against Iran called Operation Epic Fury. American leadership at the time assumed this would be a very fast, decisive victory. But that assumption missed a crucial detail. Iran knew they could never beat the combined force of the US military in a traditional head-to-head fight, so they simply refused to try. Instead of engaging in a shooting war they would lose, they decided to strike the underlying plumbing of the global economy. This map shows the Strait of Hormuz, linking the Middle East to global oceans. At barely 20 miles wide, Iran completely blocked it. Because 20% of the world's daily oil supply travels here, millions of barrels were trapped overnight. They achieved this by lining the water with explosive mines. Naturally, massive oil tankers are terrified to move through a minefield. Shipping insurance companies took one look at the risk and entirely stopped covering ships in the area, dropping traffic to nearly zero. The US and its allies tried to stop the bleeding by releasing 400 million barrels of oil from their emergency reserves. But the world consumes over 100 million barrels every single day. That backup supply is just a drop in the bucket. By simply controlling a small geographical bottleneck, a smaller nation can entirely paralyze global trade and neutralize the strongest military forces on Earth. This visual shows a perfect example of asymmetric warfare. It's a math problem. The attacking side uses incredibly cheap weapons, like $20,000 drones, to force the defending side to use up wildly expensive countermeasures, like a $4 million interceptor missile. Iran is launching swarms of these cheap, disposable drones into the sky to actively drain Allied resources. In response, the US and Gulf allies have to fire their highly advanced Patriot missile batteries. The math simply does not work in our favor, and those interceptors are quickly running out. This blockade also stops a massive portion of the world's fertilizer supply. 1/3 of the global supply passes through this exact same geographic pinch point. When fertilizer can't leave the region, farmers can't grow crops. This means a military standoff in a distant desert waterway directly causes the price of bread and vegetables at your local grocery store to skyrocket. The chaos is also spilling over into neighboring countries. Recent attacks have struck massive natural gas processing facilities in Qatar. Those facilities produce a huge portion of the world's helium. Helium is a required ingredient for manufacturing the microscopic computer chips that power artificial intelligence. Without it, the massive AI boom stops entirely. Amidst all this destruction, there is a very intentional exception being made. Iran is choosing to let Chinese oil tankers pass through the strait safely. But there is a catch. To get safe passage, buyers must purchase that oil using China's currency, the yuan. They are completely rejecting the US dollar. Normally, the US dollar is like a universal gift card that every country has to use to buy global goods like oil. By forcing countries to switch to the yuan, Iran is trying to make that US gift card obsolete, which would effectively strip America of its most powerful financial tool. All of these distant dominoes falling are causing severe, immediate damage to normal Americans. Almost instantly, the US stock market lost 5% of its value, wiping out $3 trillion in wealth. Normally, when prices go up, it's because the economy is booming. But now we're seeing the opposite. Everything is getting more expensive, while 92,000 people are losing their paychecks in a single month. It's a rare and painful combination, where the cost of living rises even as the job market disappears. This shock hit at the worst possible time. The US national debt recently reached $39 trillion, and everyday citizens are carrying a massive $18.8 trillion in household debt. Our financial system was already stretched to its absolute limit, and this external shock is pushing it toward a total overload. Right now, the government is spending hundreds of millions of dollars every single day to fight a war of choice. Meanwhile, working citizens are the ones actually paying the bill through punishing inflation and a dying job market. The American economy was already incredibly fragile. It was built high, but it had very little structural support to handle an outside shock. This blockade in the Middle East might be the exact breeze that knocks the whole thing down. With the world's fuel, food, and technology pipelines now being used as weapons, the reliability and low prices we've lived with for decades are being pushed to the breaking point. If you want to understand these massive global shifts and stay ahead of the economic fallout, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel.